Welcome to Cyberpunk Dark Skies 2078. It's the single player mode variant. I am basically still reading the book and kind of have a premise for how I'm going to engage in this, but mostly I am going raw. It's a lot, a lot of tables, a lot of charts, a lot of stuff. I'll also be keeping an eye on Twitch chat, my Discord, to see if you have any questions. Not specifically regarding this game, if there's any questions that people have around Dark Skies 2078, regarding the other games that I'm running, schedule, whatever. It's an AMA slash solo play. So, looking at the first beat, or the first uh, subject matter, the first step for engaging in a single player mode, as far as I can understand, would be building a mission and then engaging with the build. In the mission builder segment, which is 28 of the single player mode book, if you have it. Step one is to determine who's hiring. In the book, of course, the names and stuff that are related here, or sorry, the entities that are related here are just generic, effectively roles or positions. Um, so we will be kind of interlacing narrative that we have in Dark Skies 2078 with that as we go through it. So step one, determine who is offering the job. And so for us, we are going to roll a 6 and to determine what type of person we're looking at, kind of engaging with you. So I've got my dice on the right side. You can see there. Not a normal thing that I do in my normal games, because I prefer like removing the mechanical element out of the games. It's kind of, I don't know, it kind of pulls me out of it when it's like on the screen or featured. But if folks like seeing the dice roll results, we certainly add that to format or template that we do. So a D6. 3 says that we have a moderate slash community, someone in the moderate stage, not corporate or street, and then like it's a possibly a, which is a 2045 term. Um, Not really something that we do here. So basically, just middle class or kind of like below middle type of person that we're looking at here. 10. So this is a person who is a corporate spy. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. It's into the moderate. So this is a freelance tech that we're dealing with. Since we had a character created by one of our players a long time ago named Chance, who was a tech, we're going to go ahead and use that as our freelance tech for this game. Chance, the freelance tech who is based in Arroyo on the eastern side of the Abyssal Del Rey Channel, not too far away from Red Dirt Bar and the like. I believe we're already focused in on there, so quite fortuitous. I think his offices, or rather his warehouse, is there. Cool deal. And I think that is it for determining who we've got here, person-wise. We could definitely roll more on the charts to develop a random NPC, which has been very interesting for me. Utilized just as kind of side beat. So the tables are really fun, especially when you're trying to develop a NPC on the fly. The mission that they are shelling out some eddies for our crew, which is a solo individual. It is just going to be my insert character Rattel, who is solo. Character sheet there. 72. So Chance wants us to ruin a business or ruin business for someone. Okay. According to the rule. Yeah. Um, what kind? Sorry, I rolled a d10. Go ahead and correct. So that is going to be dead. Chance is wanting us to smuggle people, presumably into Night City. Say that case for us. Who is the next beat is defining the focus. Uh, Closed questions are what we're asking here. So when we're kind of asking questions that are yes or no or kind of defined questions, that's what we're looking at when we ask the oracle, which is a bunch of tables and charts. When we're asking that, what we're kind of trying to get an answer for. Um, so I think in this, sorry, just checking here the charts. Um, there's so many different people that we want. I'm going to roll a d100 for chance and determine a random relationship. So this is a coworker based on the chart that we rolled. Random relationship. Rolled a total of 35. So this is a coworker. So someone that maybe Chance has worked with for a while, went out to the Badlands, worked with some folks out that way. Due to the uptick in wraiths that we've been having in the 2078, that might be why they need to be smuggled back into Night City. That works. That works. Okay, going back to 28, I think we have a pretty good handle on the mission and the focus of the mission. Guy out in the Badlands, kind of set the location. Oh, that's what we. Because that's actually done randomly as well. So maybe they're not in the Badlands. I just said that out loud. It's my usual like MO is riffing. So what I typically do. We'll roll another d10, and we will see that this is going to happen in a combat zone, Foxville. So um, double checking here. Moderate combat zone chart 100, 52. It's going to be happening at a gang checkpoint. Interesting. So currently, Foxville is actually taken over by Foxville's taken over by Kangtao. So that's not going to work for us based on the information here. So I'm thinking that this is probably going to happen in Dogtown. Dogtown is a combat zone. The gang in Dogtown, pretty well known, Barcast. And in our version of Night City, it's currently a disparate kind of splitting of three separate kind of factions for the Barcast. Their leadership being killed a couple of times in a row. Okay. I think that gives us a solid idea as location wise. So we're in Dogtown, and they need to get through a gang checkpoint. They need to get out of Dogtown, and they're not as skilled as our operators on Run the Block Sundays. They're not able to just jump over walls or what have you. So we have to kind of give it different. Then we need someone to go in, grab them, bring them out. Okay, okay. And then let's see the pay. And our core rulebook to decide pay. So core rulebook 381. I would say that this is a typical job. We're expecting armor resistance, obviously, in the form of Barcast. That's something that we can kind of prepare for. It's not overwhelming due to kind of the disparate nature of Barcast in its current time. I would say during the summer of 2077, they would obviously be a bit closer to a job or guaranteed dangerous job. This is pretty typical. So about 1,000 eddies for the operator in question. Okay. Then adding a twist. So near the mission's completion, or sooner if it's a narrative, we'll kind of engage in a twist. If I have people watching in chat, if there's any point that you feel like there's a twist point, you can type up. So same for cool. Okay, so just to reconfirm, um, Ratel has been hired by a fixer in that area right now would be who is running Santo? This is a question I've never answered. I don't think fixer. I think it's Capitan. Yeah. So El Capitan is retired. He is not a present kind of individual in Night City. Um, if you play through his storyline in 2077, it kind of makes sense that he's active or working in Night City. Kind of pulled himself away from that lifestyle. Probably still does like car selling, but not to the same degree. So let's see. Fixer. Uh, we'll go ahead and just make it simple. Hungary is not too far away, and with no chance, they worked very briefly. Like I said, one of the players in our group built a tech, tried to do some stuff in kind of like a narrative slash text based kind of sense, but didn't get much done other than making a really cool gun. But besides that, didn't character, and then kind of built a much cooler character when started actively playing instead of just. So we'll say that this is going to be Hungry as the fixer, giving Ratel the job. Assassin Eddie's up front. Just get this guy into town for a chance. Okay. That seems good. So then, next step. Ratel enters into conversation with Hungry over text. Hey, got some free time today? Is the text that Hungry sends over to Ratel. Ratel will reply, work? Question mark. Hungry would reply in text, yeah, and then drop the details. Got a friend who's stuck in downtown me. I know you've got access, so you can go ahead and get. Just don't make a big fuss of it. Guys wanted by the barcast. Ratel would then reply in the affirmative. Great, send the person's details over. The contact information for the smuggle target, the person we're trying to get out of Doc, sent over. And Ratel would send him a hollow call trying to formulate a connection. The connection, I would say, at this point would be static. Bit of a problem. But then Ratel would send a text to the same number, and there's no return notice, so the text does appear to get through. It doesn't appear that a text is returned back, so it may be the case that he's being jammed on his end, but is able to receive incoming. Just cannot formulate a direct connection. Okay. So, Ratel gets into his beater of a vehicle, simple road car, and drives down to Pacifica. He would enter into Dogtown on Western Gate. This way, the last note. Which I'm going to say, for simplicity's sake, is going to be that marketplace there, just outside the head parts. And I know it's kind of hard to see the character sheet stuff in the way, but there. Okay. See what the next So it gives a lot of example play, um, but it doesn't really give a much of a structured format, in my opinion, as to how the game is run. So I've been kind of like going over, um, like in my head, how operationally kind of move. Now it states to reference the chart that's listed in core rulebook 395 as kind of a means of engagement. So doing so, we have a hook. It started with a kind of pretty simple hook in that we need to find guy, go get guy. Um, Development, we did that as Rattel is driving into Dogtown and heading to the last known location of the act, the target of this, who we're going to call uh, Turkey. That's his name. Okay. Development. Um, Go into the next of the story. He is going for an investigation, looking for the guy in the marketplace. And since he's probably not going to just be readily able to find him right off, going to start looking around for him, trying to find a trail that he can kind of find out. So it gives it gives a pretty like beat for beat for each of the types of play or types of beats that they have in the single player mode. So investigation is, I believe, the first one in the list. With that, we're setting a goal. Bertel wishes to find Turkey in the Dogtown marketplace. That is his goal. Starts moving around the space, looking for people to talk to, people he may have like kind of affiliation or contact with, or people that look like they're kind of approachable and talk that can be talked to. This is an average investigation. According to the chart, it says that's going to require a total of 5 skill checks. So, kind of determining what those skills are going to be. We're going to start with a very simple tracking. Bertel kind of assesses the situation, looks around the area, starts looking for any signs or factors that kind of taken into account. Based on the information that we've got, as we're making it up and we're going along. Turkey drives a Thornton pickup truck. There aren't very many vehicles parked around here, but maybe there are signs of that vehicle nearby. Let's see. So that would be our first skill check. Actually, we're going to just, because we're doing simple mode, we're just trying to kind of run through it. We're going to do a simple investigation. It'll be a total of 3 skill checks. So tracking is the first one. Definitely looking for kind of any visible or kind of noticeable features. Kind of trying to create a narrative as to what might have happened in the marketplace, what he's been doing. Second, we are trying to talk people out of information to see if anybody here has any information regarding this individual, which I think would probably be a social skill, which Patel excels at. Best at it. So good. I think we're going to go with persuasion. I'm not really interrogating anybody here. I'm not like trying to beat people up. Or just kind of passive conversation. But rather, Streetwise is probably more fluid for this. Streetwise is the role we're going to go with. And then our third check, I think that local expert would normally be fine. Let's see. I mean, I guess we could just go with persuade or perception instead of tracking. He's looking around. Tracking would be more if I have a tail and I'm trying to keep on them. So perception, we're looking around the area. We're talking to people. Persuasion. And then third skill. Let's see what their suggestions are here. No, we're gonna go with tracking. We're gonna go with human perception instead of persuasion, and then we are gonna go with persuasion. Got it. So tracking, awareness, roll a tracking roll. Okay, so we got a 9, and we have expectations. So the DV we would have normally assigned for this would have been a DV 15. So we would fail that check. So we're trying to analyze the scene. We're trying to look for any signs, any kind of indicators that he's been here. The truck, any kind of tech gear, any people who may look like they've been recently helped by a tech, or might have tech assorted things if he's taken. None of that seems to show up for him. So he starts asking questions of people for this second check. And then starts getting answers. So for human perception, how bad we roll on this one too. I'm going to go ahead and set the DV of this one for a little lower because the people in Dogtown are, especially in a marketplace like this, are probably more. People in Dogtown are probably not very conversational, to be honest. But people in a marketplace would probably be more conversational. So I roll a 2 total, as you can see there on the thing. So Rattel is doing great at this job, doing the best at he is talking to people and not getting much information, but he is going to talk to someone he thinks might know something, which again is baseless, obviously. He's been rolling terrible so far. So he is going to be rolling a persuasion roll, and he's going to be doing so against this NPC's concentration. So we'll throw the persuasion first, and then we'll go ahead and grab a mook. And this will just be hustle mook. Confirm. Wait, no, cancel. There we go. Hold on, just in case. It always makes me nervous. Yes, confirm. I want to hustle. Thank you. Sorry if the sound starts looking bad. It is. Wife is in the bathroom bathing. So I said we are going to be rolling his concentration. The mook is rolling. The mook has rolled. Rattel beats the mook's concentration. So kind of suspect this guy. This guy looks like a little bit of he's not a gang affiliated guy. He's not like Barcast or anything, but he definitely looks like he's muscle, right? Hired muscle guy. So kind of walks over to him and starts like, "Hey, have you seen this guy?" Shows him on his agent, and at first he's kind of a bit like defensive, but then Rattel kind of lays it on a bit more thick, not interrogatively, but more like, "Hey, I need this guy. He's not even supposed to be in." And the guy will eventually kind of come clear with some information. So based on the successes, we have an understanding that we're kind of losing out a bit here, right? And there are ways to kind of offset your failures so that the narrative continues by utilizing kind of resources and kind of moving through the space. In the examples they give, like for the first tracking instance, like I don't see like any kind of situations because I rolled terribly, but there could be a situation where I go to a tech who's in the marketplace and say, "Hey, you got access to those CCTV cameras? I'm gonna need it. I'll give you 100 eddies if you just tell me if you've seen a truck like this." Kind of work that situation like that. Alternatively, like in the persuasion and also the human perception, if you just want to hand people money for information, that's sometimes a benefit to like adding to the bonus, adding to your check. And then there's also call for extended checks, which are additional rolls or actions that are required to compensate for a setback. So, for example, like if a person were to find like something, and despite failing the tracking check, like that thing isn't exactly what think they're supposed to mean. Like it's there. There's like a noticeable kind of present thing there. It may require like an education or a streetwise check for you to kind of understand the thing you found, because tracking would tell you both, like it's there and also what it means, whereas these kind of extended checks are in place to benefit you. So in the case of resource draining, I'm going to say that for the human perception roll, um, while he's talking to people and he's not able to read it, and very clearly is kind of mishandling the situation, he's going to offer 100 eddies to the people he's talking to, the random people, to kind of get more information, and they point him towards the Mook. When he goes to the Mook and talks to him, he will then succeed on his persuasion check and get an understanding of the next beat. So he takes the guy, right? Shakes him by his collar and kind of like tells him, I know you know where this chum's located. I need it. I need the information. The guy would then say, okay, yeah, he was in a big truck, right? Yeah. Couple of scavs came out of nowhere, bat him in the back of the head, threw him in the bed of the truck, and drove off. They headed east. So they're still in Dogtown? The guy would say, yeah. I'm not with them, by the way. I just do security work around here, since the Barghest are not really doing their fucking job. Okay, fine. He'll head that way. Um, so with a lead on the first beat, the investigation check, based on kind of putting money towards the situation and kind of pressing on, he'll have an active understanding as to what happens next. Now, that is obviously a route you can go when you do your own single player games. There is also the opportunity for you to kind of like lean into the failure, which we're kind of creating divergent existences here in the Rattel story, soloing. None of what I just said with the money and that shit is happening, and he gets some information from the Moogs, which is basically precise, but he doesn't get the information beforehand. So he kind of has an idea of where to go, but in all essence, it could be completely unrelated. It could be something that's not quite right. The Mook may be talking about somebody else who happens to drive a pickup truck. And it could be a scav trap that he's being kind of put into. So great. Understanding the beat. Investigation is kind of put in there to kind of give you a piece of information to move into the next beat, kind of summarize through that. And then going in unaware is something that happens if you don't find that lead, kind of directly move into like a space where you may be engaging with the initial kind of quest, or you might be kind of like falling into a different kind of a position. Now, the interesting beat about an investigation and what I see as a social challenge is that they kind of have a very similar vibe in kind of obtaining information from people. You're using social skills to try and glean this information. Whereas it seems like a social challenge is a bit more of like um, its own beat that is not related to gaining information, but more just about kind of dealing with this individual in a narrative sense. And so when our character, plucky hero, Rattel, will kind of continue on to the east and go to the scav location, he's going to see the truck. And it looks like, someone's already done a number on the truck, kind of pulling out a lot of the stuff in the dash, kind of getting it ready for salvage, right? So he knows that the person he's kind of dealing with here, or the situation he's kind of dealing with here, is a problematic one. So he's either going to try and go in and talk his way into a scav haunt, which in my opinion, that's probably a no-go for Rattel. Not exactly something he would be deemed as safe or, something he would want to do. I don't think there are any key characters that are present in that space for him to kind of engage with. So I think Rattel is of a mind to kind of go in ready to fight. It is a situation where he is prepared to fight. And the combat rules in solo play are a little less overbearing They're more for the narrative than for kind of the turn for turn sequential kind of situation. So, quick and dirty combat. Know your combatants. Um, got my crew sheet. I'm going to go ahead and bring him up again. Our boy Rattel. And he's got himself a reflex of 8, evasion skill of 6, I believe. Might be more. Evasion of 6. Okay. And he is going to be engaging with 4 regular scavs and 1 scav heavy. The heavy is armed with a regular shotgun. The scavs are armed with pistols. Great. So we have all that information. Then, assessing the scenario and looking at the area. He's not terribly great at this. Not the best anyway, but he's going to try and assess the situation with a tactics roll. Which he actually rolled hella good for. I have a 5 and I rolled a total of 25. So he looks at the situation. He's kind of like eyeing down like this small little like scav haunt. It's like a broken, first and second floor of a building that just was absolutely compromised during the Unification War and has kind of stood on its own since. And these scavs are kind of just in there hanging out, probably like predating on the people nearby, keeping to themselves and trying to make it look like they're not here. As he's kind of set himself into the space, he is going to be at an offset. He is a single member of a single man Edrunner team. He's going up against, as we discussed, 5 individuals. 1 will be a hardened member, and 4 are not hardened. So the opposition gains +1 per mook present, which we're counting the just scavs as, and +2 for lieutenants present. So we're looking at a total of +6 for the opposition, and just +1. No, sorry, hold on. +1 for each member who has a speedwear implanted. He does have speedwear. He has a Kerenzikov. And +1 if a member of the crew won the tactics check. He did. So he's actually rolling with a +4. Okay. So then we make attacks. So they get a total of 6 attacks. And Rattel gets a total of 4 attacks. Is what it seems like they're asking me for. So let me go ahead and get my scav real quick. And as I said, they're just using heavy pistols, so a total of 6 attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jesus Christ. Okay. So 20, 14, 20, 16, 24, 13. Okay. And then I would then, obviously, because I have. Bear with me here. Oh, I see. So list the results is what it's telling me to do. So I'm going to go ahead and bring open a notepad on the side here. Actually, I'll just type it in the text chat here. So that was 20, 14, 20, 16, 24. No riveting, you guys. The action content that we come for. Literally just playing with myself. Okay, so that's their attacks. Great. Then Rattel is going to get 4 attacks. And since it's guns blazing, I am going to check to see if I'm going to make an attack check with my rocket launcher. Oh, that's a failure. Uh, at times. I am going to make an attack with my heavy pistol. And then I'm going to make 2 attacks with my long knife. Okay. If a character is capable of dodging, they can negate 1 range attack made against them. Count the number of total hits per side. Okay. A hit is... Characters capable of dodging, they can negate 1 range attack made against them. Count the total number of hits per side. So that looks like it's going to be 3 hits on Rattel's side. And looks like it's going to be 3 hits on theirs, 4 hits on theirs. No, sorry, 3 hits on their side and a negating 1. Got it. So 3 and 3. Determine the outcome. Whichever side scores more hits wins the fight. It is up to you to decide if the loser surrender, flee, or flatline. Go with the outcome. That makes sense for the story. In general, you don't need to worry about how much damage is dealt to the NPCs, even if they flee or surrender. Chances are they won't show up again. Or if they do, it'll be after they have a chance to heal. What does matter is how much damage the opposition dealt to your crew. For each hit, you roll and do damage to yourself accordingly. So it's 3 and 3. So whichever side scores more hits, I need to see what it does in the case of a draw. Look in here. Sorry. It doesn't. So what I'm going to say is, because it's a draw. Oh, okay, yeah. Because it's a draw. Hold on. Got it. So because it's a draw, I'm going to go with damaging Rattel, so as if he lost, but he also is going to win. So we're going to go through the damage characteristics of the weapons hits that we got, and we're just going to utilize them. So the 24 was the one I dodged. 16, 20, 20. So 11 damage doesn't break his armor. 7 damage doesn't break his armor. And 8 damage doesn't break his armor. Let me just make sure that I'm reading this right on determining the outcome. All the attacks in the quick and dirty combat system made against human opponents are against the body. Normal rules apply. That includes armor, SP, and critical injuries. Or the damage and move on. None of the armor pierces through Rattel. So he is hit a bunch of times, but because of his subdermal armor being at 11, as you can see here, it's mostly just a bunch of scraps on his like outfit. And then he will cause the scavs that he's fighting to partially retreat and to partially be kind of killed by him. His first shot with a rocket launcher catches them with off guard, but they are not hit or caught in the blast. The shot kind of goes wide and hits behind them. They start firing at him as he approaches in with his pistol, taking a shot down range and cleanly like scooping a guy's head off. And then when he rushes into the fray, he slashes the throats of 2 other scavs, and the rest of them just seeing the situation kind of break combat and run, hitting him and not really doing much of anything in the rest of the fight. Upon killing them, he would see that in a storage container, there does appear to be a cryo bag that's been kind of set up. It doesn't look like it's active, like it's not actually doing the cryo. It just seems like they're using it as kind of a body bag to carry something, or someone rather. He assesses the situation. His tactics roll was insane. So he looks around, makes sure that there are no other threats available at the time, and then he kind of engages with what he presumes to be his quarry. He unzips the cryo bag, looks inside, and quickly kind of peruses the individual. Just for a flavor beat, I'm going to check to see if he is understanding whether or not the man is alive or not by rolling a first aid roll. he thinks that he's alive. Like checking someone's pulse is kind of a difficulty 7 situation, or difficulty 6 situation. So he is aware that he's alive, um, and kind of like not sure how long he's going to be in for. So he's going to pick up the individual. He's going to return to, or kind of check the area around too for any kind of items that he think might belong to the tech. He sees an old tech bag. He's going to pick that up, and he sees kind of a dirty old shotgun that doesn't look like it belongs with the scab. So he's going to pick that up as well, chuck that into the tech bag, and then throw Turkey over his shoulder and head towards the Thornton. When he gets there, he realizes that it's completely demolished, and it's also not his car. So he's going to move past it and get to his car. Okay, so at this point we have like an understanding of how we've kind of come to acquire the person. Now, smuggling them out of Dogtown is the next. We know that on exiting and entering Dogtown, the Barcast crews at the gates are still pretty well like factored. They're not like they're still doing their job. They're still maintaining Dogtown as kind of its suspended, isolated area from the rest of Night City. So Rattel would know that like driving out the front door is not an option, and his road car, he's partial to it, but at the same time, he's probably not gonna be able to utilize that to get out. So when he returns back to the vehicle, he gets out a speed heal, which no, never mind. He doesn't know how to administer a speed heal. He doesn't have med tech skills. He's instead going to do his best to kind of resuscitate him with another first aid roll. And he's going to fail. So his ally here, he's pretty sure he's still alive. He's still breathing. There's still a pulse, but he is not conscious. So that means he's either got a concussion or he's been drugged, right? And he's gonna have to carry him around wherever he's going. You have to lug him out. Right now, he hasn't alerted the attention of the Barcast. So he's going to take the time to reload his projectile launch system in his cyber arm. He's also going to set himself up with his personal gear. So he just picked up that shotgun. I'm going to say that it's going to be a Carnage, Budget Arms Carnage. Cheap, easy gun. Throw that onto the sheet. And it has just 5 rounds of ammunition, and they are going. I'm going to say that they're slugs, or no, sorry, I'm going to say that they're shells, more likely. Great. So he's locked in. Got the shotgun slung over his shoulder. Projectile launch system has a rocket in it. His long knives are on his belt. His pistol is at his hip, and then he has Turkey over his shoulder. Going to reach down for his right hand, grab what he needs to from his belt to fight, or pop open the rocket launcher and hit. So then the next beat, I think, would be trying to look at the beats here because it's definitely not combat. We already did that. Honestly, what would Rattel do? What would be? I mean, kind of moving through Night City, just kind of going from point A to point B. That's easy enough. But I think what we're going to engage in here is he knows people in town, in Dogtown. So we have a friend listed. They are an EMT, an emergency response individual that works for Ario Meatwagon. We're going to go ahead and say that this, fuck it, we're just going to use who we know. I'm going to make Rattel's friend so that I have a connection to Redtail now, I guess. But it's not Redtail. We're not using Redtail. I'm not using other people's NPC or player characters here. This is going to be fucking... What was that guy? Going through my notes here, folks. Just bear with me here for a second. I even do it when I'm role playing to myself. This is going to be John Shock Bates. Now, if you recall correctly, Jerry is the actual medic. John was the kind of driver slash gunner. He's not really a solo though. He is an EMT, so he can do like minor first aid work, but he's not like rolled for it. He's not like a med tech like Jerry is. And then Shock also had an AV land on him back in Series 2, which killed his legs, but he did not drop the beers. So Shock is a real one. Getting out of the space is going to require him to kind of have a means of exit, and the car is obviously not going to be it. If he drives up, they're going to scan it, they're going to check it, and they're going to kind of run through it that way, right? And we have an understanding that Barcast doesn't want our boy Turkey to get out. They want him for whatever reason. That's why he didn't just leave on his own. So to get back the chance, we're going to need to get somebody from the outside to come get us, and somebody with a means of kind of getting us out so that we kind of hide him away, right? And EMT, like REO meat wagons, they can be scanned. Like, obviously, they're going to be able to scan it. But there could be a situation where we kind of get him into the EMT and, like, fuck up his vitals enough so that he isn't going to be scannable as a person of interest to the Barcast. That's going to come down to what we're able to do here once we get there. So he's going to call. This is going to be a key character situation. So he's talking to Shock on the phone. And we go to the key character type of engagement. That was here. So the goal, I need to get Shock to drive his EMT from point A to point Dogtown, pick up Rattel and Turkey, get both out of Dogtown by helping him kind of scramble Turkey enough so that he doesn't come off as, or he isn't identifiable as Turkey in the vehicle by their automated scan system. Now, obviously, Rattel could probably screw him up facially and like structurally with his fists, knives, etc., to make it so he's not recognizable to the human eye. But like I'm talking about like biomonitor scans, stuff like that, that the EMTs would have an easier time doing, right? In the conversation with Shock, it's pretty much just going to be a situation where it's like, I'm telling you what I need from you. This is what I need, and you need to come do it. Hey Shock, how you doing? I got a situation here. I'm stuck in fucking Dogtown. Your meat wagon's still allowed to pass through the gates? Yeah, we're allowed to pass through the gates. What's it worth to you? Listen, I know you still owe me a favor from last time, okay? And I really need to draw that favor in now. If you need like gas money or some chew money or something, you need something like, to help you kind of make you feel better or sleep at night, that's fine. I could probably throw you a couple eddies. If I can get this done, I'm making about 1,000 on the gig, so come on, Choom, help me out. Because he's offered kind of a nebulous kind of idea of money, I'm going to give him just a +1 bonus to his persuasion rolling. And because he also mentioned that he's taking this as a favor that is already owed to him, Shock is a bit more receptive to the situation. It's a friend. So I'm going to set the DD at 13. And I'm going to go ahead and roll my check. Okay, so I totally fucking nailed it. Like 28, super high. Great. Shock is like, yeah, okay, fine, fuck it. We're in Vista Del Rey. We'll probably be about 40 minutes to get there. Just hold your horses. Sit tight. So Rattel will do just that. Rattel sits down on a park bench and kind of slides Turkey down onto it. But unfortunately, the park bench has those kind of aggressive divides that kind of make it hard for a person to kind of lay down, etc. And so at this point, like I want to ask, do you think that he'd be conscious, or do you think that he'd be unconscious? Like, is he going to kind of remain dead weight, or are we actually having Turkey wake up at some point? What do you think, chat? I know there's a delay, so I'm really waiting for the response if one comes. Be the funniest time for nobody to type. Oh, maybe one day I'll be able to. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and leave him as a turkey, cold and unconscious, until otherwise noted. He'll sit there, Rattel will sit there for about 40 minutes smoking a cigarette, and no problems kind of arise during that time. There's some gunfire here and there. There's like a supply drop that happens not too far from Rattel, but he kind of is well placed and a good distance away. So, an REO meat wagon EMT vehicle pulls up. Shock and Jerry pop out and kind of assess the situation. Jerry doing most of the work there. Shock walks over to Rattel, kind of stands up to face off with him, and says, "This is a hell of a situation. I mean, I don't know what's really going on with Barcast plate, but we barely talked our way through. Fuck. Not as good as it used to be. I thought they were okay with you folks taking people out to they're okay. No, I guess not. Probably more ritzy folks up in Black Sapphire or wherever, heavy hearts are probably getting their work done by trauma team. Don't know what's going on here. Guess they don't really care about the low folk anymore. Yeah, that makes sense. Or I guess they're probably more focused on their own, in their own military things. All right, well, can you fix it so that they don't scan him, or they scan him as someone else? Tall order, and I know I said I would do it as a favor, but that's a situation that's going to take some work. So, how much are you making on the gig? You said 1,000? Yeah, that's right. Are you pulling us into it? We're going to go 50-50. 50-50, go fuck yourself. I want to do most of the work, killing scavs and pulling them out of the fucking... Doesn't matter to me. We're the ones driving him out and making sure he doesn't ping their systems. So, popping up the eddies or not. 50-50 is too steep. He's going to try and talk himself out of the 50-50. Since it does seem to be a tougher situation, I'm going to set the DV at a 15. And I am going to spend luck to see if we can't kind of make this happen. So Rattel has 5 luck. And I am going to be absolutely confused as to why my token doesn't have its stuff on it. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to spend 1 point of luck to... Oh, nope. 4 is what I want. I'm going to spend 1 point of luck to kind of make this a possibility. So I need to roll 4 on the dice, it looks like. Persuasion. Let's see what we got. Fine. 50-50. It's fine. If anything goes sideways on the way out, though, because of your botched job, it's on you. So because he rolled a fumble, I kind of put in that like bit about Rattel kind of threatening Shock there, which obviously is kind of like a transgression on their friendship, right? Like he's kind of, asking for a big favor here. 500 eddies is a decent amount of money, but it's not like a huge amount of coin. So he kind of, like, Rattel to kind of stress his situation with that persuasion being so bad, is angry about it. He's not happy. And Shock, obviously, being kind of responded to in that way, is not a fan either, but is still going to do it for the money and for his friend. He's just not very happy with his friend right now. All right. So we're going to go to. I don't think I have a character sheet for Shock. So we're going to find a med tech in the NPCs. I think it shouldn't be too hard. Still think it's hilarious that the NPC med tech in the book and also the there's this called Redtail, but it's not a bio exotic fox person. Um, it's just some random trauma team asshole. Let's see. Speaking of trauma team assholes, we'll use one of them. Trauma team danger gal dossier. NC42. The looks like there are two meat specialists, Stick and Twist. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Twist as our NPC for Jerry. Because remember, John is not a med tech. Jerry is. Jerry is going to roll. This looks like a. Jerry's going to roll paramedic. Or surgery, rather. Surgery? Ooh, NPCs are weird. Here we go. Roll. Med tech. We're going to put it all in surgery. All right. Cool. And that should give us a surgery skill now. Or not. I'm just going to roll paramedic and say it's surgery because I think the level would probably be about the same. Cool. Okay. So I didn't set the DV, but obviously it's a bit of a tall order here. So DV 15. It does look like they've succeeded at that. So they scrambled the biomonitor. They use some tools to kind of cut up on Turkey a bit. They carve him. They carve Turkey so that he does not look like himself in a sense, and also that he is. I mean, he can definitely be sculpted back using like clone tissue and the like. But for now, the scans will probably key him as not himself, unreadable. Okay. Once they've done that, they do this in the back of the EMT vehicle. Rattel stays outside. Once they're done, they kind of pop back into the front of the vehicle, and Rattel will kind of stay in the back with the EMT, or stay in the front with Shock, rather, and then the EMT will stay in the back with Turkey. Then they're going to throw up their lights and siren, and they're going to book it out of Dogtown, heading out of the western gate that leads into Pacifica. Get there, they are scanned. Now, at the beginning, which again, most people who are in here, if there's even anybody in the chat, didn't hear me because they may not have been here. But a twist could arise at any point in the game. If you are interested in a twist happening now, you're certainly welcome to it. If not, I'm probably just going to let them get out and save my twist for something at the end. It's so the thing is like it states in the book, DM interventions like in Cypher system. I guess it's kind of like that, but you're kind of playing with yourself, right? So it says in the setup beat, right? It says try to make sure that you hold on. So step 5 in the mission builder segment, after kind of determining all the base stuff, is add a twist. No job ever runs smooth near the mission's completion or sooner if it fits the narrative. Consider rolling on the plot twist table, page 75. Do this if you feel the story needs more dramatic tension, more action, or just a shake-up. Not every mission should end in a twist, but in a Night City, plenty do. And so I was going to roll a twist when we got Turkey 2 chance, but if you want to do it right now as they're trying to escape Night or Dogtown, that could also work. And these plot twists can be kind of situations where, like, maybe an all-out attack happens. Maybe, like, right after they get out of the gates, they're being chased by Barcast into Pacifica. It could be like something like ambush, or like a Netrunner situation with with Turkey. Like maybe there's something inside of him. Could be Cyber Psycho comes out of nowhere, and Max Tack is hunting down the target, the Cyber Psycho, like in that area. So you're kind of like moving into killing field. Could be all sorts of different things that happen as the plot twist. But if we don't want to do it now, I'm going to save it for the end, which is not too far off. Okay, keeping it going. We get out of Dogtown. We head into Pacifica. Guns shooting all around. EMT drives. Shock asks Rittel, "Where do you want us to take him?" Arroyo. It's here's the address, and he'll flick him the details. Not too far from the Red Dirt Bar. Nice little warehouse right about here. And they get there. Rittel will get him out, and before he does, Jerry in the back will say, "I'm going to administer a speed heal. It might bring him back to consciousness here in about 5 minutes or less. Looks like he's had a pretty serious concussion. You may want to get him some bed rest." And shakes a small little jar and hands it to him. Make sure he takes quite a few of these when he gets consciousness and didn't swallow something. Okay? Rittel says, "Thanks." And then he'll wire 500 eddies from his own personal fund to Shock. Shock will lean out of the side of the EMT vehicle and say, "Hey, thanks. Sorry to bust your balls about it, but it was pretty serious shit. I could have gone sideways." Rittel says, "I know. I appreciate you. We'll have a drink about it later." The EMTs drive off. Rittel throws Turkey over his shoulder, walks up to the warehouse, slams his metal arm on the door. Chance opens the door, shotgun pointed at him. "Hey. Oh, hey. Yeah, come in." And they go into the warehouse. Looks like they're working on, or Chance, he's working on what looks like a pretty sick motorcycle. Not a Yaiba or a Kusanagi or anything. Probably just something a little more kind of, I don't know, old style. Motorcycles. Cyberpunk 2077. What's the name? So it's like an arch Nazare. Similar to Jackie Wells' motorcycle. Looking at the situation, Rittel kind of moves over to what appears to be a tool table, slides some things to the side, and then lays out the guy, who has started kind of grunting and kind of making noise as if he's kind of on the come up. Rittel says, "Well, that's it. We're good." Chance will nod his head. "Yeah, thanks so much. And here's the eddies," and he'll send over 1,000 to Rittel. Or no, sorry, he wouldn't send the money. Say, "Yeah, Hungary's got the money. You go ahead and just make sure you get it from him, okay?" Rittel will nod his head. And then I'm gonna roll my plot twist. Also in the form of, they have a climax, which a generator, which is fine, and I might use that in the future. But this is pretty downbeat. I didn't want this to be like a crazy job. Just something very simple. However, I did want to do a plot twist just to see if it fit and how this chart works, kind of connectively with like kind of putting it in random. So we roll a D100, get a 73. And so the target is an ally. So the target turns out to be someone the team knows. Now, normally that plot twist would be kind of And see, that's my problem with these plot twists. Is some of them are very kind of uh, disconnected from what the gig could potentially be. And I mean, again, the charts are more, in my mind, kind of like a thought activator. So I think in this instance, um, what we're going to kind of like glean is Turkey kind of flashbacking when Rattel kind of got him out of the bag and moved him to the bench and the like, and was making sure to kind of take good care of him. Rattel recognized Turkey as someone he knows, and let's see if there's anybody on Rattel's sheet kind of fits with that. If not, we'll just kind of add a situation. I guess Turkey could have been a tragic love affair. I've never really thought about Rattel's sexual preferences, sexual identity. Let's go ahead and say that they are a person that Rattel broke up with their tragic love affair target because it was a tech that helped him get a hold of his rocket arm. Okay. And he thought that the individual was dead. He definitely didn't go by the name Turkey in the past. So Turkey was the personal goal. A friend he had to keep that made his lover hate him because of who Turkey is connected to. So, realizing that kind of like, feels like a debt of allegiance here to Turkey. And it's probably why he was so kind of thorough and willing to cut forward the half of his earnings here. Gig. And Chance looks like he's kind of setting up a device that looks like it's a torture device. Bertel will kind of look at Chance and say, "The hell are you doing?" Yeah, I wanted him brought here because he knows the location of something that I need the information on. You want to help me with this? I'm willing to pay you for it, but if you're into the sport of it, you can definitely help me get the information out of this guy. He knows where Drop Stash is located. Wraiths out in Dustin. Serious loot. I'm not offering you any of it, but if you want to help. Bertel kind of looks at Chance like, "Sorry, no, I didn't know that you were wanting him dead. The way Hungry explained it is this guy is a friend of yours." He was. But the payout's way better than this. Or way better than the friendship. Bertel's kind of taking umbrage to this. Um, and I think is kind of at a state where he's either going to choose the job, which he's already done, but like I guess the you know appearance of the job, like staying out of it, or if he's going to try and save his, the person who he worked with as a tech, Turkey. Um, I'm gonna roll concentration check to see where his humanity kind of goes. Um, he rolls lower than a third or 13 or lower, he's definitely going to kind of go with it and be on board with just leaving Chance to his work. But if he succeeds, I think that he is going to open up on Chance and kind of fight him. I'm going to spend all of my luck on this. So it'll be 4. And that means I need to roll a 4 or better on the dice. So I need it. I got it. I got it without the luck. But I got it with the luck especially. Bertel's going to brandish his pistol. pointed at Chance. And then we're going to kind of go back to a combat step in the story. So we have one, Chance, and he's by himself. He has speedwear, so two. And then we determined that, oh, we got to roll contested tactic rolls. Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I think the quick fighting can kind of create a situation where we're doing more combats, even in just kind of standard play, and can kind of narratively move through the more bulky fights in a way that's satisfying enough, I think. Um, so tactics was under education. Not bad. I think Chase is in here somewhere, or Chance is in here somewhere. Maybe an archive. Yep, there he is. Huh. Okay. Education, tactics. Okay, so Chances got higher on the tactics, so he's gonna get +1 to his attacks. And then let's double check and see if he has speedwear, because I don't know if he does or not. I thought he did. No, he doesn't. He doesn't even have a Neuralink. Interesting. Okay, so he's going to get 1 for the tactics, and he's going to get 1 or 2 because he is considered hardened. So 3 attacks from him, and then speedwear, evasion or reflex rather, and then hardened. So he's going to have a total of it's 3v3. Okay, so 3 attacks from Chance. Shotgun, boom, boom, boom. 25, 19, and 9. Okay. 5, 19, 9. And then Rattel. I think I'm just gonna go in with, because we're kind of in close range here. I think I'm just gonna go with all long knives. Or I kind of like him going in with the budget arms carnage since he kind of had it in his hand the whole time. Okay, shotgun v shotgun. So boom, boom, boom. And then the DVs are going to be 13. So I think I hit all 3 with Rattel, and he missed 1. So that means that the fight goes pretty quick, right? And again, fucking fix your shit. Roll 20. Why has this happened? They both go for shotguns immediately as kind of Rattel kind of steps up and like draws his weapon, brandishes his weapon, and 2 of them just start unloading on each other, shotgun, shotgun, shotgun. Because of the fight happening inside of his warehouse, Chance is able to kind of like find cover, kind of move tactically, and has the upper hand at first. Very quickly, Rattel's like speedwear and his very quick nature, just moving around the warehouse with his move of 10 very fast. He's able to kind of catch Chance in a corner, and just that last shot is just straight down the barrel into Chance, killing him, just obliterating him in the corner and leaving him for dead. Rattel will pick up his shotgun. He's never one to pass up a good weapon. And he'll do a quick survey of the shop just to see if there's anything interesting. I'm going to roll 3d10, and we're going to see if there's any kind of random things. So I'm going to say that there is at least one cool thing present here for him. With that 9, the bike does look like it is in a state of usability. Fortunately, Rattel is out his car and a couple beads of things that he had in the trunk, as that was left in Dogtown. But the job was completed. He's going to take Turkey out from there, and Turkey will gain consciousness. He'll explain what happened to him. They'll amicably part. And then before he kind of rides off into the sunset, he's going to give Hungry a call and explain what happened. Yeah, he pulled a gun on me and tried to kill me after I brought him the quarry. I think he was planning on doing something illicit to the guy. Hungry will kind of, yeah, he was a bit of a flake. Chance. Sorry about that. You got the Eddies? Yeah. I'll send you a couple. I'll send you 500 more just to make it easy. Sorry about that. I'll vet my customers thoroughly for you. Thanks, Hungry. I know it's not your fault. Click. Um, and yeah. Oh, sorry. With the 7, also, I think as just like a spiritual successor, and I don't know if I still have the notes for it. I do need to see if I do, but I'm gonna say that one of Chance's last chance weapons is on sight. Um, so bear with me. Uh, last chance. Uh, searching that in my Discord, I'm surprised that. Here we go. So the last chance is a shotgun, small, concealable, pistol size. We use one-handed. Um, deals 5d6 in a shell blast, but can only be shot once and then it's done. Oh, sorry, it's 6d6 in a shotgun shell burst. So it shoots like a shotgun, does 6d6, but only shoots one time. I will add that to the sheet. Well, shotgun. Okay, and Ratella is done with his mission. So that's single player mode. Relatively simple. Very weird to do it on a live stream. No one else would run for me, so I had to do it myself. 100%. I forgot to get payment for other gigs, so I'm pretty sure I was in the 500 zone, and I just made 1,500, so we're at 2,000. 2,000 eddies, and then I've got the new shotgun, the budget arms carnage, and then I have this is going to be called the last chance. Last Chancer, sorry, is what it's called. Okay, so does anybody in the chat have any questions for me about single player mode, about anything at all? Any questions whatsoever that folks might have about um, anything, anything at all? I know there's a delay. Okay. Will there be a player death in this or in the game tomorrow? So I just finished up with this one. I technically killed a player character in that Chody built a character a long time ago called Chance that didn't really see much play, and it was the first tech I could think of off the top that we aren't really using. So he's dead now. We did also see Shock and Jerry, or the two EMTs for Ario Meatwagon. They're not player characters, but we love them just the same. They did not die, but there was a chance here that that was possible. The game tomorrow, there's always a chance of death in a game, I guess. The plot that's going to be happening there is going to be pretty dynamic, but it is mostly just going to be kind of a pop in, kill everybody, pop out kind of situation. Um, we'll see how it plays out. Um, yeah, any other questions? Again, I set it up as a AMA in the thing. If there's any questions, I know like people probably are busy on a Monday, but I figured since playing single player mode by myself wasn't going to keep me entertained for eternity, especially since I just wanted to go with a simple structure on it and try and kind of make it through and make it legible. Oh, you threw stuff in the Discord. Okay, cool. Notes, plot twist. I feel like this is something you could really personalize on a per character basis for anyone that wanted to do a solo thing. Yes, 100%. I agree. And I feel like another thing too is I thought about asking somebody else to kind of accompany me in this adventure, and I was kind of working together through it. But I kind of wanted to do it by myself so people could see, um, so people could kind of see like what it's like. I wore a Militech shirt, Brent. I had to flex on them. But yeah, I wanted people to see what it's like before I kind of decided to kind of grab people and drag them into here with me. I think too that the single player mode will give people who are thinking about GMing for Cyberpunk Red, which I would love to see if people are interested in doing. They may be interested instead of doing that, kind of taking it upon themselves to just run one of these or kind of like act as lead in one of these and kind of grab a crew together and be like, hey, let's do this. And either record it or, bring me into it so I can stream it or bring somebody else who can stream into it so we can kind of get like the recording of it. I think the main thing for me is if people do this and kind of work on it through like a play by post situation, that will be easy for me to kind of reference as a possible addition to the lore and treating it as canon. If people record it, it'll be easier for me to watch and treat it as canon. But like if you just kind of do it and then say, "Well, this is what happened and you have to believe us." Like I feel like that's a little bit harder for me to kind of like um, you know, see as something we can kind of ingratiate into the canon. And I want there to be kind of more agency. I want there to be more opportunities for people to play either with other GMs, without GMs in this kind of mode, and kind of work together and like make the narrative more fleshed out. Because we have a lot of players. I weeded out a few of them because there were some people who were kind of have lost interest. Obviously, it's a lot of folks, and you know times are not as prevalent. It's just one guy running. Um, but I wanted to make sure that there was opportunity for folks to understand that like there are other opportunities in the game, and I wanted to make sure that like everyone feels like they're getting a solid story. Just more options. You know, I like more options. I think I like single player mode. And yeah, if you want to kind of kill your character off, you're bored with them, doing a single player mode to do it, very interesting. Uh, it's something. Okay, thanks, Shiro. Last call for questions. Oh, sorry. Let's look at these questions that get posted. Quick fight, good, great. Adapted for the combat filler beats. It's so much faster than playing. Yeah, I agree. So I think that's the best thing that I've gotten from this. Because one thing that I have a problem with, there's also quick and dirty rules for net running in here that are great, and I want to employ those. Rattel is not a net runner, so the next solo one that I do, I'm going to be dragging somebody with me into it that is a net runner. I might try to do one with Solution. I might use Daniel Bunnell for it. I still think that Breeze, played by Steven, isn't. I mean, Steven's a good role player, but I don't think he's as acclimated to the system yet to kind of riff on a single player mode style kind of game. But we'll see. Well, he's playing tomorrow, so maybe he's ready, and I'm just being too late. Or maybe Cheddarwords will play a fucking Netrunner with a new character since he's letting me kill Cazador. I thought about killing him in this, but I thought that would be kind of dirty. Rattel's already been involved in the murdering of player characters and feels wrong. Then, last beat, I think this is a great way to craft a story with a GM. Jack in, roll some dice, do a couple things, bada bing, bada bing. If Is there a series of if then checks that you're doing when you're doing the social checks and whatnot? Yeah. So in the way I run it normally, sure, but in this way it has it kind of codified, right? So it's like kind of locked in as to like what happens. So like I was discussing, you kind of set the skills that you want to kind of engage in for whatever you're kind of dealing with. And maybe as a team, you kind of like if you have a couple of players or more kind of working together in a GMless format, um, you kind of decide what those skills are going to be. The base thing, or rather, the basic thing would be to kind of just be like, there are obviously skills that have really strong, like suit in. But that's kind of boring. So, like with this one, you obviously saw me kind of lean into skills that I felt were more necessary for the situation on offer, rather than what Rattel had on him. So that was why they're the social situation. And yeah, I mean, in a simple investigation, three checks are kind of on offer. You're kind of formulating the narrative as to what's happening and like what those successes really mean. It's not like you get so many successes, ta-da, you win. It's more of a, well, I succeeded in this check, and this is what the check means in a narrative sense. What does that give me? And why are these other checks still needed? And so you're kind of formulating this plot, and the dice are just kind of determining what happens at each of these beats in that plot, if that makes sense. Um, and yeah, you jumped in right in as I was kind of doing that. So like he failed the human perception check, but he passed the persuasion check. So he was able to kind of like talk the kind of muscle guy, the hired muscle guy, into telling him what he saw. Because he was probably like not wanting to get in trouble with the nearby scavvers. But yeah, that the book has so many fucking charts. There's so much you can do with the book, even just outside of single player mode, in my opinion. Like if I need to formulate a name for an NPC, they've got charts for it. If I want to formulate, a connection with a fixer, all the ones they have in this, like all of the characters they have in these charts, are kind of keyed and specific to Cyberpunk Red, and what I mean by that is like the time of the red, so like 2045. So, for example, the fixer roll, right? If you roll randomly on the fixer chart that they have, it's 1d10. Your options are like 3-piece, Flasher, Grease, Lowball, Mr. Kernigan, and these are all names that you don't recognize with the exception of maybe Flasher, and that's because they're 2045 fixers who existed in that time. So what I would do is I would just kind of take the charts that I have in here and modify them so that they are keyed to Dark Skies and 2078 instead. That's obviously a bit of work. I do plan on doing it. I know that my current goal as far as Dark Skies and writing is to make sure that the cyberware is where I want it to be. So, excuse me, so that people can buy it, and then also to make sure that I go back over the perks, because there are some that I do kind of want to modify after seeing them in action. Cool, cool, cool. Last call for questions. Again, at any point, if you want to throw questions of me in the This Mind of Mine channel for just general questions, Dark Skies Rules channel, or general channel for Cyberpunk. All right. Thanks for watching, those that did then. And see you tomorrow.